Good evening and welcome to Monday Night on Bad Dog Comedy TV and Ayaka's Kitchen. Now, please give it up for your opening act, a toast.
Hello! Hi everyone! How you doing? How are you doing, Sean? Hi! Okay. Here's the toast joke. Okay, I'm a toast. Okay, here's a joke. Ready? Okay. Knock. Who's there? Someone who really wanna get in there. Someone who really wanna get in here. Who? Someone. I wish I could get in there. Irish person. Okay, Irish person. Woo, give on me. Yay! You get it? Like Irish. You get it? So? Okay. Another mediocre joke, but it's okay. I'm a toast. I'm running away. Bye-bye. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, how was the toast joke? It's okay? Getting better or getting worse? Well, now, just joking. Hi, I'm Ayaka. Here's another episode of Bad Dog Comedy TV, Ayaka's Kitchen. So Bad Dog is a great place, so let's donate money. If you are able to donate money, let's support Bad Dog Comedy TV, Bad Dog Comedy Theater, because it's a great place. It's a really amazing community and amazing place to be. So yeah, let's support them and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Subscribe. Yay, Sean. Yay, subliminal message. YouTube. Yeah. Okay, and today's special. I always say like it's a special episode. It's actually really special because it's actually pre-recorded. This episode is pre-recorded because guess what? The guest is in another time zone that's a little far. And I did not want to, keep him up for 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and keeping his neighbors up for 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So yeah, we decided to do pre-recording, and here we are. So yeah, let's welcome him. Hi, David.
Hello, Ayaka.
David,
it's really nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I haven't seen
nice
you for a long time, and
it's been too long.
It's
gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really hard to resist not just catching up, but I don't think that would be super entertaining for people who are watching. But it's really nice to see you, and thank you so much for having me. And thank you. And thanks, Seann, for accommodating my time zone. I'm here in Stockholm, and six hours ahead of Toronto, and my roommate would not appreciate it if I was making noise at 1 o'clock in the morning here. So thank you.
Thank you. It worked out, so I'm so happy. Yeah, we can catch up a little bit, but also we can talk about your life, and that would be an amazing story to hear. So yeah, let's just get into it. And what is your background?
My background is I am 100% Irish, as far as I know. I haven't really looked into my lineage, but I know all of my great-grandparents, at the very least, are from Ireland, so it's probably pretty safe to assume. We've been here for a long time. Here, I'm not even in Ireland. What did I say here? We've been there for a long time. So I moved to Toronto then in 2014, and that's where I met you. Several years later when we did Second City Conservatory program together. And then about a year after our show, in January of 2020, I left Toronto to travel to Southeast Asia because I wanted to teach English. And then this little pandemic happened and I had to go home, and I was almost 30 years old, so I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to live in my ma's house. And so I got an opportunity to get a job in Sweden and worked in a ski resort because I thought that might be a nice pandemic-safe place to work for a winter, and then I ended up in Stockholm since April. That's my. I don't know if you wanted that much story, but there we go.
Yeah, I want to hear more about you. Yeah, I remember you were like, okay, I'm gonna go. Was it Thailand or?
Yeah, I ended up in Thailand first, and then I went to Cambodia. My plan had been to settle down in Vietnam, but by the time I got to Vietnam, I was there for about 2 weeks, but everything was closing, so I kind of just stayed in my apartment, my Airbnb there, and watched movies, and went for walks every now and again. But I really don't feel like I got a real taste for Vietnamese culture or life, unfortunately. But
I see.
maybe post-pandemic.
Post-pandemic, yeah. I was so excited to hear you are like, okay, you're moving to Southeast Asia. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And then like, oh yeah, of course, pandemic. And then now, like, I heard you are in like Stockholm. I was like, what? That's so cool.
It's pretty crazy.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's wonderful. If you had told me like 1 year ago I would be in Stockholm in 1 year, I wouldn't have believed you. It's very kind of random that I ended up here, but I'm really glad I did. I've had a wonderful experience, and I really can't complain. I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. So the days are really, really long there, right now?
Yeah, they're crazy long. Well, I was like in Ireland in the middle of the summer, like around the solstice, around June 21st, it gets dark at about 11 p.m. because we're still pretty far north in Ireland. But it's getting dark around 11 p.m. here now. What I was really surprised by is how early it gets light. Like the sun is up at about 3 a.m. in the morning here.
3 a.m.
Yeah, and as far from what I've heard around the 21st, around midsummer, the sun basically doesn't go down here. You might get like 30 minutes or an hour of darkness, but yeah, it's going to be crazy.
And it's similar to the island you said. So like when you were young, like you don't want to go to bed. It's still bright out, like that kind of situation.
Yeah, I hated that. I hated that when I was a kid in the summer. When I was really small, you'd be put to bed at what time do kids go to bed? 7 or 8? Is that way too early?
Yeah, something like that.
Either way, it would be really bright outside. Sometimes you'd hear kids playing outside, and because their parents, I don't know, were nicer or maybe less responsible or something.
Either way.
No, that sounds judgmental. I don't mean that. But so, and you'd just be like lying in your bed, lying wide awake, knowing that the sun was still up out there.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it's like for the little Greta Thunbergs and stuff in this country in the summer to have to go to bed when it doesn't get dark at all.
Oh, that's so interesting. Now, the food that you're going to introduce today is, well, like when I asked you to be on this show, I'm like, okay, what's Irish? What's Irish food? And yeah, like I don't know much about Irish food. I'm going to just ask David and decide what you're going to introduce. So this is what you are going to introduce. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so a little background. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'll talk about this first. So this is a fried chicken sandwich from PG Cluck's in Toronto. Oh my God, I'm salivating. I'm so jealous that you get to eat one of these again because I would, if someone offered me a plane ticket back to Toronto just to eat one of those and leave, I would take it in a heartbeat. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever eaten. It's the best fried chicken sandwich probably on planet Earth. I haven't tried them all. Maybe someday. But I know a lot of people watching might be thinking like, fried chicken sandwich, that's not Irish food, and you would be very correct. Ireland doesn't have an especially like wide-ranging or like food culture. We're historically like a very poor country up until the late 20th century, and everybody knows like the stereotype is that we survive on potatoes because that's what we did. We pretty much just ate potatoes. They're very like versatile food and they're quite healthy. You can survive on a diet of mostly spuds, and and so I the reason I thought of the fried chicken sandwich is because in recent years we have this kind of cultural food in Ireland. It's quite a modern thing. It's called a chicken fillet roll. And yeah, that's it on the screen right there. And anyone who's Irish will instantly know what I'm talking about. But it's basically like it's a French baguette with pieces of breaded chicken inside, and then you can fill it up with whatever you want. The traditional one is like a bit of lettuce and a bit of cheese and some mayonnaise. That's like your very basic. That's probably what I'd order if I was getting a chicken fillet roll. And And these are served in like petrol stations, in gas stations around Ireland, and in hot deli counters. So like every sort of chain convenience store in Ireland will have a hot deli counter where you can get a chicken fillet roll. And it's sort of become like a meme among like Irish young people, older people as well, but like it's a very studenty food. When you're in college, you survive off beer and chicken fillet rolls pretty much.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you said chicken fillet roll and beer is what you said. So
Pretty
guess
much,
what?
yeah.
I had to do this today.
Yes. Oh my god. Perfect. Yes, I'm so proud of you, Ayaka. And it's 2 p.m. where you are now, so you're extra Irish drinking it at this time of the day.
Yeah. 2
I have
p.m. on Monday.
Yeah, on Monday, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I have a
open
very
it.
so I actually got some as well, and I have a pretty funny story about this today. So if any Irish people are watching, they will know that Guinness is best served from a tap. It's pretty good from a can, but it's best served on draft, obviously, like in a pub. And Guinness it's kind of blasphemous in Ireland not to drink it out of a pint glass. So I bought this today, and it was pretty short notice. Not you asked me to be on the show like last week, but I had plans all weekend, so I only had time to prepare today. And I was walking around Stockholm in a shopping mall near where I live, trying to find a pint glass. And I literally went into some bars and everything to see if I could buy one, but nobody would sell me one. One guy who didn't really understand my question, I don't think he was like, "Oh no, we don't do that in Sweden. We don't sell glasses." So I've compromised, and I am drinking my Guinness today out of this beaker that says 1 pint on it. So I'm gonna join you. I'm gonna join you and drink from a beaker.
Okay.
That sound.
Yeah. I got Mason jar. Is that acceptable?
That's perfect. That's perfect. Can I teach you? Can I teach you how to pour a Guinness, Ayaka? Because there's a certain way you do it. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do this. And I'm terrified because I'm on my work laptop right now because it's got a better camera, and I'm very afraid of spilling Guinness all over it. But okay, hold on. Excuse me. Let's shuck up a little bit. So you want to open your can.
Yes, I did.
And then just like most beers you pour, you want to kind of hold your glass sideways. So you want the beer to be hitting it right on the just below the lip where you're pouring it. And then you're going to pour it. And as the Guinness is going in, you're going to want to straighten it out and just fill it up empty about 3/4 of your can in there. Don't empty the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. And then you leave it to settle. So if you look at that beautiful Guinness, I think I'm really bad at science, but I think that might be nitrogen bubbles or something rising to the top. And it's very important. I actually have no idea why, but I just know it's very important that you let this sit before you fill up the rest. That's how you pour a pint of Guinness. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to Wade. Do you want to give it a try on your end?
Yes. Okay. So like 45 degrees.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Lilo.
Yeah. You can pour it nice and fast if you want. I would start to straighten the glass out as you pour it, but that's not super important. Just to get more head on it so that it looks more aesthetic. Perfect. Now you should be able to see all the bubbles kind of rising. Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful sight.
layers.
Yeah. In Ireland, we say you drink Guinness with your eyes before you drink it with your mouth. Right. So you got it. Yeah, and so once it settles, it shouldn't take too long. You can see now mine is nice and black and white on top. You can just dump the rest of it in pretty nice and slow if you can, but you don't need to hold it at an angle anymore. Just dump the rest of it in, and you should have a very aesthetically pleasing pint of Guinness left over. And it'll settle a little bit more, but other than the fact that this is in a beaker, this is a almost perfect pint of Guinness, if I may say so. Perfect pour.
Perfect pour. Yes.
Ayaka, you absolutely nailed that. Well done. You are better than most. You're better than most barmen in London.
I'm like 7% Irish at the moment. I'm gonna get higher and higher. In this.
Yeah. We'll get you. So, should we drink?
Yes. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you say cheers?
We say sláinte, which is.
What's this?
Yeah, so this is the Irish language. You know how in Spanish they'd say salud, or in French they'd say santé? It means good health. So that's exactly what sláinte means. Sláinte. Yeah.
Sláinte.
Sláinte. Enjoy. Oh.
Sláinte.
Perfect spelling as well. Amazing.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Wow.
I have to move my mic out of the way every time I take a drink because right now I look like if an air traffic controller brought his kid to work.
No. I love Guinness, and you know what? If I like this one, I'm sure the real like from the tap would be amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
You can't beat it. I've had pretty good pints of Guinness all over the world. It's kind of a thing that Irish people will seek out when they get to a new city or a new town. Is what's the best pint of Guinness in town? Do you know what? I don't remember where the best one was in Toronto. Isn't that shameful? I can't because I had so many of them. I don't remember. But I can't tell you that the worst pint of Guinness I ever had was in London. I'm going to shade London bartenders right now. You'd think being so close to Ireland, they would know how to pour it. But at least the bartender I had no idea. And it was.
Don't they have beer warm in London? I remember like having beer warm there.
It seems like something those crazy Brits would do. I don't know. I don't know. That's blasphemous to me, but it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember their pop culture is different. But yeah, okay, I'm learning so much about Guinness now, and now I'm gonna cut this open and then start making sushi.
Yeah.
So, tell us about like Ireland. What is it to be Irish? What makes you Irish?
I've had a very. I want to preface this by saying that when I speak about my experience being Irish, obviously every Irish person's experience is different, and so if you happen to be Irish and watching this, if you hear something that maybe you don't agree with, like that's fine. You know, everybody grows up differently, but in my experience, being Irish is about. There's certainly a dark side to it, but I think the good side to it is we're very good at laughing at ourselves. We're very accommodating to outsiders, and we don't really take anything too seriously. I think maybe sometimes to a fault, but I think for first impressions, it's quite appealing. I had a really interesting conversation recently with I work for quite a multinational team here for my job, and we were sort of talking about how every nation will have jokes and they're like the neighboring country that kind of is the butt of all their jokes. Like, so for example, I was speaking to a Lithuanian woman and she told me that all their jokes are about Estonians.
Yeah.
And I think Canadians, their jokes are about Americans, right? And
that makes sense.
do you have one in Japan? Is there sort of a nation that you would make fun of in a sort of friendly rivalry?
I can't really think of like jokes basically.
Yeah.
Well, like if you get into like politics and stuff, like China, Korea, Japan, they are like
of course.
the three talks about lots of things.
Truthfully, I hope it's something we can outgrow as people, because we don't want to be like saying bad things about someone just because of their nationality. But the reason I bring this up is because all these people were talking about which country is the butt of their country's jokes, and I realized that in Ireland, the stupid person in the joke is always the Irish person.
Oh yeah.
We laugh at ourselves, which I think speaks quite well about our country. Like it's something I really liked to hear. We're very self-deprecating, and I think that lots of people find that disarming in a nice way. I think maybe this isn't universally true, but around the world, if you say you're Irish, most people have quite a positive reaction to it, which is really nice.
Does that mean like everyone's like feeling very secure of themselves, like they know who they are, and then like if you're like insecure person, you cannot really do that and laugh it away. It hurts too much.
Are you asking if people in Ireland are very secure?
Yeah. Like we're good, proud, all good. Like,
I don't know if I'd say that. I feel like there's certainly like a kind of toxic insecurity under a lot of Irish culture. Maybe we were ruled. We were colonially ruled by the British for 800 years, and I think there's a little bit of a collective trauma around that, which has led to our drinking culture. You know, there's a stereotype of Irish people drinking a lot, and in my experience, it's very true. I don't think you should assume that any Irish person is an alcoholic, obviously, but we've a huge drinking culture that borders on problematic very often.
Okay.
But so I would say there is a lot of kind of cultural insecurity about our place in the world, about our place as Europeans, because we don't feel super European either, not compared to mainlanders. But I think that we are, like I said before, we don't take anything seriously, and we're good fun to be around. And maybe it might be a perceived lack of insecurity, but I just think we're good at making people feel comfortable, about making them feel welcome. Because I think you find that when you meet someone, it doesn't have to be Irish, who's good at laughing at themselves. I think you naturally feel a little more relaxed around that person because maybe you feel like they're less judgmental, maybe. I'm thinking out loud here, so sorry if I'm kind of jumbly or going around in circles with what I'm saying.
No, it's great. Yeah, it's great. So, like in North America, I guess, like people think Irish is like just like right away St. Patrick's Day, like there are lots of drinks, like drinking a lot, and then leprechaun, green stuff, like that kind of stuff. Do you get offended, or like that's who we are, kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I think very few Irish people get offended by that. So my roommate in Toronto, he was from Scotland, and he asked me once if we were talking about St. Patrick's Day, and he's like, oh, that must really annoy Irish people, all these Americans pretending they're Irish, and I was like, not at all. We love being celebrated. We love being the center of attention for one day around the world. We're such a small, tiny, seemingly insignificant country, but like our cultural footprint has been huge. Like like there's Irish influence, good and bad, around the world. Everywhere you go, there's Irish pubs and stuff. Actually, I heard a really interesting fact recently about Irish pubs. Apparently the Tourism Board of Ireland will sell the Irish pub like as a concept. They'll basically, you can pay the Tourism Board of Ireland. They'll advise you on setting up an Irish pub. So a lot of Irish pubs in far-flung places like Southeast Asia and stuff, a lot of them aren't actually owned by Irish people, but they've sort of bought the concept from the Irish Tourism Board, which I found amazing.
Wow.
It's one of our biggest cultural exports is the traditional Irish pub.
Wow, that's interesting. So of course you should be proud of it. It's like celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I struggled, I think, with my Irish identity for so long because because when I left there, I didn't think it was a very good place to be a young person. And when I got to Canada, I stayed in a hostel for a while, and I noticed a lot of Irish people would gravitate towards other Irish people, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I came here to meet people from other cultures and stuff, and it's sort of been this like internal battle, I guess, the last few years, the last 10 years almost, about like where my Irish identity sits within me. But I think the last few years I've gotten much more comfortable with it, and I can still be, to use an awful term, like a man of the world. Well, but still like staying in touch with my roots, and it's always nice to have Irish friends no matter where I am, because it's like you speak a common language. I mean, I'm sure for you, no matter how many international friends you make, there's always a certain comfort when you talk to another Japanese person, right? Because they understand exactly where you came from, exactly the culture you've grown up in, and I'm sure it's the same for anyone, anywhere they are in the world. If you meet a fellow countryman or woman, then
I can relate for sure. Another the stereotypical, I guess you call it, thing that you already mentioned a little bit is like people are like so friendly and welcoming. And one time I was in Rome, and I was sharing the hostel dormitory with Irish couple, and then I just met that day, and they are having wedding the next day, and then they're like, you know what, we get along so well, you should just come to our wedding. And at the end, I couldn't make it to the wedding, but like I was shocked. Like in my culture, I would never bring someone I just met to like someone's my wedding. But like that was like my first like encounter, I guess, with like pure Irish couple. And
that's an amazing story.
Yeah. So like I was like, wow, that memory makes me always feel like, okay, Irish people are always like so welcoming and friendly. that's staple.
That's wonderful to hear. That does sound like a very Irish thing to do. Like we're quite we kind of improvise through life a lot. You know what I mean? Well, we're quite spontaneous and just kind of go with the flow. You know, we have this concept. You've probably heard this word before. We have this concept of crack in Ireland. It's an Irish word. It's spelled C-R-A-I-C, but we pronounce it crack. And sometimes if people are unfamiliar with it, they think you're talking about drugs. But we'd say like we're just having the crack. It just means we're having fun. It's kind of a carefree sort of let's see what happens kind of fun. You know?
I love that. Yeah. I feel like I always live my life that way.
Okay, you are one of the you are some of the best crack. You have the most crack in anyone I've ever met.
Okay, I'm becoming like 12% Irish now. 12%.
Yeah. It's going up. We should have a little meter here that like measures Ayaka's Irishness. Do you mind if I get it for 2 seconds and close my blinds because the sun is like slowly setting on Sweden now, and I just hate what the light's doing. Give me 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Okay, so right now I'm rolling sushi, everybody. It's gonna be, I don't know, maybe the world first Irish sushi ever. Who knows? Maybe like this is gonna be popular Irish pubs. Then there is an Irish pub everywhere in the world, as David says. So we can pitch it.
Can I? Sorry about that, by the way. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Have you been to an Irish pub in Japan?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I've never been to Irish pub in Japan. In Canada, yes, but not in Japan.
Yeah. Do you have any particular feelings yourself about Irish pubs, like the ones you've been in Canada, or?
No, I always feel like the feeling like you are in the city, and especially in Toronto, it happens often. Like you go to a certain neighborhood or like certain restaurant or pub bar, and then like, I feel like I'm traveling. Like I feel like I just came to Ireland or like Europe. Like that kind of feeling. I love that kind of feeling. So sometimes like that helps, especially right now that I cannot travel. Yeah. Were you expecting a certain answer?
No. I was just gonna ask. I guess I wanted to know your thoughts on it. If you had said you had been to one in Japan, I was curious, like if the experience would be any different. But I guess it probably wouldn't be if we're. I
wonder. But Japanese people love beer. Like we drink so much beer. So like it's Irish pubs. They serve a lot of beer and whiskey. So
nice.
That's actually like perfect, I guess. Yeah, for me as well. Like, well, when I buy beer, I would say more than like 60-70% of the time it's Guinness. Actually, did I tell
really?
You that?
I didn't know you were that much of a fan of it.
I like Guinness a lot, and
that's amazing.
I'm not a big beer drinker, but like Guinness is, I guess one of my choices. Yeah, more than half of the time I just buy Guinness when I drink beer. And if anyone who has hung out with me going to a bar together, my drink is highball, which is whiskey and soda, or just like straight up Jameson. So
bringing a tear to these Irish eyes.
My Irish is going up to 21%.
It's Gaia. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's Seann, producer extraordinaire. That's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, but I have never been to Ireland, so I have to go there. So if someone travels there, what do you recommend? What should we do, or should we eat, or should we?
Ooh.
I guess the chicken fillet roll,
Yeah.
other than chicken
Yeah,
fillet roll.
get a chicken fillet roll. Treat yourself. We have another thing called a breakfast roll, which is a bit of an abomination. But if you're brave, you can try that. That's basically a French baguette with a full Irish breakfast inside. So there's like an egg, 2 sausages, 2 strips of bacon, and some black pudding. And it's like a heart attack in a baguette. It's an awful thing that nobody should really eat if they expect to live a long and healthy life.
Do you have that for breakfast or?
Yeah, it's fallen out of favor the last few years. It was a real kind of symbol of the Celtic Tiger, which is the Celtic Tiger was like this period of economic prosperity in Ireland from like the late 90s until about the financial crash of 2008. And that was kind of like the chicken fillet roll of its day. Like it was sort of a meme almost. Like there was a lot of people working in construction then. So the breakfast roll would be what these big like fat Irish builders they'd stop into the deli on their way to work. Oh, give us a breakfast roll there, and clog their arteries before they before they put up drywall all day. So but I'm sorry, you asked about visiting Ireland, and I don't know how I got onto breakfast rolls. Don't do it if you care. Don't do it if you care about your health. But if
okay, so telling me things not to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm from the middle of Ireland, and I always tell people if they visit Ireland, stick to the coasts. There's not a whole lot to do in the middle. It's nice, but the problem with Ireland is that it rains about 300 days a year, and it's a beautiful country in the sunshine. It's just never sunny because it rains so much. When it actually is sunny, the green looks so much greener. But I would say city-wise, Dublin is a wonderful European city to visit, and you have a lot of fun there. But if Dublin's a European city, then I would say Galway is a really great Irish city. Galway, it's called. Yeah, Galway, Galway. It's in the west of Ireland. I think it's our 3rd biggest city, and it's kind of what you would like stereotypically think of Ireland. There's like a lot of pedestrian streets that are cobblestone.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really I love going to Galway. There's lots of like buskers and people just Irish dancing in the street and stuff. It's like something out of a stereotypical dream. I think if you really
Irish dancing is like the step things.
It's if you know river dance, it's a bit like I'd love to show you. I have no idea how to Irish dance. I'd love to show you a terrible example of it, but this wall is too much in the way, and nobody wants to see me dance anyway. But yeah. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one, Ayaka. But yeah, river dancing is like the thing that won the Eurovision for us in the 1970s. It would have been like in 1970s America and probably around the world. If you had mentioned Ireland to anyone, they probably would have thought of river dance. Kind of like people think of Conor McGregor today or something, the UFC fighter. But yeah, Galway is just a beautiful Irish city. I would say it's all Dublin and Galway are really great for nights out, but Galway, there's something special about it. It's funny because I was speaking to a British friend of mine recently, and we were kind of comparing Irish and British pubs, and a difference between them that I never really realized is that I really like a British pub. I love the decor. I think they're really nice, but any Irish pub you go into, there's about a 90% chance of there being live music that night. Yeah, which is really nice. Most British pubs might have like a concert and a small gig 1 or 2 times a week. 90% of the time in an Irish pub you go into, there'll be someone even just strumming a guitar, or there might be a traditional music session. I guess I never really thought about that until I talked to this English guy, and he pointed out like every time he's gone to an Irish pub, there's some music, and I'm like, yeah, it was just such a given to me that I just assumed pubs are where music happens. Yeah, so that's a really nice thing. And if you went out in Galway, you would undoubtedly find a beautiful pub to sit in with a lovely, well poured pint of Guinness and some some Irish trad, or at the very least, someone strumming an acoustic guitar and playing.
Yeah. Oh, I
making
like that
hits.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Irish music is amazing. Because of my job, musical director job, I had to, like, for St. Patrick's Day event or something, I have to prepare or learn so much about like Irish music and then like play it as a, kind of like a DJ. Just
Yeah, nice.
play
I didn't
those
know
music.
this.
Yeah, there are a few events like that in the past that I have done, and then just like researching those, and the lyrics is like they are so warming, but also they have pain, but like they release that pain through music and
Absolutely,
sending a message. And then now I think about it, it's like they talk a lot about nature, like go with the flow, kind of like a river or like that kind of stuff. Now I think about it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think that attitude. We've traditionally been like poets and songwriters and storytellers as well, and I think that attitude. A lot of that stemmed from like years of colonial rule by the British. That we, it was the British ruling class. I don't hate British people, for the record. It's the British ruling class who are, I believe, they were oppressing the working classes of Britain at the same time. But they were landowners in Ireland, and they outlawed our language, and they tried to get us to stop practicing Catholicism, which maybe was a good idea in retrospect. But they I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Yeah, I feel like because of life for an Irish person back then there wasn't a lot of hope in it. You would grow potatoes on your farm. This is a traditional kind of rural Irish person, which was most of the population back then. You grow potatoes on your farm, and most of your harvest would go to the British landowner who would export it back to Britain. And so I think like we the only hope we could find, the only hope that my ancestors could find back then was in storytelling and in songs, and there's a really rich Irish mythical what's the word, culture is not quite the right word, but you know what I mean, like I remember when I was a young lad, I had a book of Irish mythic stories, and they're all really magical, and they talk about witches, and like I remember there was this one story where these three children who are like the children of a king. The king marries their mother dies, and the king marries like an evil witch or something like that, something typical like that, and then she turns the three kids into swans, and then they're swans for like 1,000 years before they get turned back. And when I was a kid, I just remember thinking like 1,000 years as a swan, but I was so mesmerized by the magic of it. There's actually a really wonderful movie called Song of the Sea. It's an Song of the Sea. Yeah, it's an Irish animated movie done by this Irish animation studio called Cartoon Saloon, and they have 4 movies, actually 3 Irish ones and 1 set in Afghanistan. And the 4 movies, and the 4 movies are fantastic. But someone compared Song of the Sea to kind of Ireland's Spirited Away, or like like a Studio Ghibli movie. So they draw on Irish mythic culture about fairies and things like that. And I think you'd really enjoy it, actually, Ayaka, if you
I
check it out, and the viewers as well. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, for sure.
And the animation.
Thank you for sharing all those knowledge about Ireland and culture. It's beautiful. And now I got another beautiful thing, which is Irish sushi. So
oh my goodness.
Sushi, yeah. How would you name it?
It looks incredible. Oh God. Okay. Well, I would love to come up with some ridiculous pun, but I just think. But if you're an Irish person and you think of chicken fillet roll as a meme, then just chicken fillet sushi roll is kind of a very funny twist. So I think I want to just call it the chicken fillet sushi roll.
Yay! Chicken fillet sushi roll.
There we go.
Sushi roll.
There it is in life.
Thank you, Seann. Yeah. I managed to put all the bread and pickles and cabbage and chicken, breaded chicken, everything in each piece, every single piece. So I'm proud of it.
It looks incredible.
And you know what? Now this is my heritage. I have to have a little bit of soy sauce, and of course using chopsticks. And I'm gonna try it. So I wonder, David, do you feel comfortable singing Usually, I don't want people to hear me chewing, so I asked Sean to put drum roll. But like, what about you sing us, serenade us some Irish folk song or
You're
something?
really putting me on the spot here.
Is that too much?
I
Okay, drink more.
I just feel like a plastic. We call it a plastic paddy, which is like a fake Irishman, because I can't actually call any lyrics to mind.
Drinking
you know
song.
what? I'll just start drinking really loudly. How does that sound? I'll just
Yeah.
this really loudly, and you
So
can
I'm
cheer.
gonna
Okay?
eat it. Itadakimasu.
Beautiful Irish music.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's good.
Oh, so good. Mm.
I'm so happy to hear it.
So
Sunday-
good. Mm.
Crack Eagle. That's incredible. I'm so glad you. I mean, I can't take any Irish credit here because it is PG Cluck's fried chicken. But hopefully someday after the pandemic, we can find a way to actually put a chicken fillet roll, an authentic
Mhm.
chicken fillet roll from a hot deli counter in a Centra. We can stick that in a sushi roll.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Oh,
It's incredible.
yeah. It cannot go wrong. Like chicken sandwich is so good. Sushi is so good. Like cannot go wrong.
Can I ask you? Can I make a crazy deal with you?
Yeah. Yes.
So,
Please.
so I'll tell you what, and I'm not going to make you do something without getting something in exchange. Okay? You are going to put soy sauce on your one. Why don't you try one with some Guinness on it instead of soy sauce? And if you do that, I will sing. So
All right.
you don't have to. You don't have to. But
No, we are doing it. Okay. So
Okay.
Guinness on it. Like dip it in Guinness.
yeah, just whatever way you'd use soy sauce on it, but you use Guinness instead. It's gonna be awful.
Okay, I emptied the soy sauce plate. I'm gonna
Mhm.
put Guinness in here. Oh, Sean.
God, what am I doing to you? I'm so sorry.
But you know
All
what? There's like Irish stew that like you cook in Guinness, right?
Yeah, Guinness. You can use Guinness as a cooking ingredient. There's like a Guinness barbecue sauce I think you can buy as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is
it's
that.
really
This is like okay. So
Mhm.
soy sauce was like me staying at like 22% Irish, but this dipping in Guinness will bump me up to
It's got to be close.
38% Guinness.
I mean, it's got to be close to 100 at this point.
Oh really? Okay.
But let's see. Maybe Seann will put it up on the Irish.
Yeah, it's up to
meter.
Sean. Sean's the judge.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Leo.
sing the verse from Fields of Athenry. Okay, because I'm not gonna make you
Amazing.
suffer on your own. I'm gonna suffer by singing.
So
By
this
a
is-
lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling. Michael, they have taken you away. Is it awful? For you stole Trevelyan's corn, so the young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay. All right, that's the end of the first verse. Are you okay? No. You deserve all the applause, but that looked painful. How was it? Not good?
I'm crying because your song is so beautiful.
I just hit my head from laughing. Oh dear. I'm so sorry to hear that that's on there.
Yeah. So kids at home, don't do what I did, but
Yeah.
you can use Guinness to make stew, make barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
cook it, but don't eat sushi.
Only very experienced Irish people like Ayaka are allowed to dip sushi in Guinness.
Yeah, I'm 100% Irish now, according to Sean.
100%. Yeah, I saw it. Congratulations. We're happy to have you.
Thank you, David. Well, it was delicious at the beginning.
Glad to hear
I went crack what was it? Crack a Guinness, crack Irish.
Yeah, it was. Well, are you trying to say it was good or bad?
It was a great experience. I'm happy about the experience. That I was going for it. the taste wise, I wouldn't say it was the best experience, but like, yeah, I like the experience.
So we had great crack, but the taste was shit crack.
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all this Irish experience with me. I have
No
never
problem.
had alcohol on this show. Why not? Maybe from now on. Maybe I'm
I
gonna
mean, yeah, it's a stereotype, but I'm happy to bring it nonetheless.
So good. So yeah, thank you so much. And Sean, thank you for all the tech. And thank
Sean,
you
you're
everyone for
amazing.
watching. Thank you, Bad Dog, for doing this. Keep doing. Yeah, here's the Bad Dog donation link.
Donate.
Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget like the video because Bad Dog is amazing. Bad Dog is a great place. And yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, David, I'm so happy you made it to this show. And
This was an absolute honor.
teach me one more Irish phrase. Like, how do you say like thank you or like thank you goodbye? Like,
so you would say, "Gurv Mahagut." I'm gonna sound it out word by word because it's kind of a long phrase. So it's G Rev Ma Gut.
good.
That means thank you.
Rev good.
It literally means may you have good. But that's how we say thank you.
May you have good. Oh, I love that. May you have good. Okay. Ga. Okay, it's Guinness.
It's Guinness. Rev. Ma. A good.
Good. Okay.
Nice.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Good, David.
Gurv Ma good. Ayaka. It's long
good,
before.
everyone. Oh!
That's Riverdance. It's Michael Flatley.